My name is Sophia Rossi, and if you'd asked me 10 years ago whether anything could ever come between me, Mia, and Lena, I would have laughed in your face. We weren't just best friends. We were the kind of trio that finished each other's sentences, knew each other's Starbucks orders by heart, and had a shared history that went deeper than most blood sisters. People in our Shaker Heights neighborhood literally called us the triplets, even though we looked nothing alike. Me with my wild dark curls and olive skin from my Italian dad, Mia with her fiery red hair, pale freckles, and that infectious laugh that turned heads, and Lena with her straight black hair, sharp cheekbones, and the quiet intensity she got from her Korean mom. We grew up on the same quiet, tree-lined street, big craftsman houses with wraparound porches, manicured lawns, and minivans full of minivans. Friday nights meant high school football games under the lights, where we'd sneak flasks of whatever cheap liquor we could swipe from our parents and cheer louder than anyone. Summers were spent at the community pool, slathered in baby oil, terrible idea, we know now, planning our great escape from Cleveland to somewhere glamorous, New York, LA, anywhere but here. Our bond started in kindergarten when Mia defended Lena from a bully on the playground, and I shared my crayons with both of them because my mom always overpacked my supplies. From that day on, it was us against the world. Sleepovers every weekend. Mia's basement had the best finished rec room, complete with a mini fridge her dad stocked with Coke. We'd stay up until dawn watching MTV, practicing dance routines to Backstreet Boys, and making scrapbooks filled with magazine cutouts of our future lives. Fashion designer, me. Actress, Mia. President, Lena, obviously. Middle school brought braces, bad bangs, and first crushes. We navigated it together, passing notes in class, crying over rejection at school dances, celebrating when one of us finally got asked out. High school was the golden era, driving around in my hand-me-down Jeep Wrangler with the top down, windows rattling from the bass, singing off-key to whatever was on the radio. We had inside jokes that could make us crack up with just a look, traditions like getting matching friendship bracelets every summer, and a pact, no matter what, we'd never let boys, drama, or distance come between us. College only cemented it. We all applied to Ohio State on purpose, no safety schools apart. Freshman year, we ended up on the same dorm floor in Morrison Tower by some miracle, or Mia's relentless emailing to housing. We turned that cramped hallway into our kingdom. Late-night study sessions fueled by insomnia cookies, decorating each other's doors for birthdays, holding emergency meetings when someone's boyfriend turned out to be a jerk. Sophomore year hit hard when my dad passed suddenly. Heart attack, 48 years old. I came home from class to 20 missed calls and a world that tilted off its axis. Mia and Lena dropped everything, drove through the night from Columbus to Cleveland, and didn't leave my side for the funeral or the weeks after. They slept on air mattresses in my childhood bedroom, made sure I ate, held me when I couldn't stop crying. That kind of showing up, it binds you for life. By senior year, we'd moved off campus into a rundown Victorian house near High Street, peeling paint, creaky floors, but it was ours. We threw epic parties, survived finals with all-nighters at Brennan's Coffee, and graduated together in scarlet caps and gowns, arms linked as we walked across the stage. After college, we promised the drift wouldn't happen. Mia moved to Chicago for a marketing gig at a big beverage company, entry level, but she was thrilled. Lena headed to NYU Law on a partial scholarship, ready to take over the world. I stayed in Cleveland, landing a junior designer spot at a boutique agency downtown. It felt temporary, like we were just pausing before the next big adventure together. But we made it work. Group texts that blew up our phones, hundreds of messages a day about everything and nothing, inside jokes that never got old, girls' trips every summer, Nashville for line dancing and hot chicken, Miami for beaches and nightlife, Vegas for shows and blackjack tables, where we always swore we'd win big. We never did. We were there for every milestone. Mia's first big promotion, Lena acing the bar exam, my first national campaign win. When Mia got engaged to Ben at 28, we flew in for the proposal surprise. Lena and I hid in the bushes at Lincoln Park with cameras ready. When Lena passed the bar, we threw her a rooftop party in Brooklyn. And when they both got married, Mia in a gorgeous outdoor ceremony in Chicago, Lena in black tie elegance at the plaza, we were bridesmaids, crying through toasts about how lucky their husbands were to get one of us, let alone be loved by all three. We thought we were invincible, that our bond was bigger than geography, bigger than life changes. Growing up didn't break our bond. We'd joke over mimosas. Nothing will. But something was already shifting, quietly, underneath the laughter and the promises. Careers were accelerating, marriages were deepening, and unspoken expectations, tiny at first, were starting to pile up like snow you don't notice until it blocks the door. I didn't see it then. None of us did. But the first real crack, it was coming. And once it started, there was no stopping the fracture. Life after college felt like stepping off a moving sidewalk. You're still walking, but suddenly everything around you speeds up without warning. One minute, we were 22, hungover in our off-campus house, debating if we should order Tommy's Pizza or cook the pasta we'd bought 3 weeks ago. The next, we were 26, 27, 28, scattering into real adulthood like pins after a strike. Mia went first and farthest. Chicago called with a junior marketing role at a big beverage company downtown. She packed her red Corolla to the roof and drove west on I-90 with Ben, the boyfriend she'd met senior year at a Buckeyes tailgate. They found a cute one-bedroom in Lincoln Park, the kind with exposed brick and a tiny balcony where Mia immediately hung string lights and potted herbs. Her Instagram filled with skyline views, rooftop bars, and captions about chasing dreams in the Windy City. She climbed fast, brand coordinator to manager in 2 years, leading campaigns for their new seltzer line. Weekends turned into networking brunches and industry happy hours. "I'm exhausted, but in the best way," she'd text. "This is what we worked for, right?" Lena chose New York because, in her words, if I'm gonna sell my soul to big law, it might as well be in Manhattan. NYU law had been brutal. Late nights in the library, outlines color-coded to perfection, but she graduated top 10% and landed a clerkship with a federal judge in Brooklyn. After that, a golden ticket, associate at one of the top firms on Park Avenue. 80-hour weeks became 90. She moved into a sleek high-rise in Fidei with a doorman and a view of the East River she barely saw because she was always in the office. "Making it rain," she joked in our group chat. But the money came with blood, canceled plans, all-nighters, partners who treated sleep as optional. Me? I stayed put in Cleveland. Not out of fear exactly, more like comfort. My mom was still adjusting to life without dad, and the agency that hired me straight out of school felt like home. Small team, big clients. I moved into a loft in Ohio City with exposed beams and a view of the West Side Market. By 29, I'd made art director, leading national campaigns from a sunny corner office downtown. I traveled for shoots, LA, Miami, once even Lisbon, but always came back to the lakefront runs and familiar bars where people still remembered my dad's name. We swore distance wouldn't change us, and for a while it didn't. The group chat stayed alive, memes at 2 a.m., voice notes recapping bad dates, emergency calls when one of us needed advice. We flew to each other for long weekends, Mia hosting us in Chicago with deep dish and architectural boat tours, Lena taking us to hidden speakeasies in the village, me dragging them to Playhouse Square shows and late-night pierogies at Sokolowski's. Girls' trips kept the heartbeat going. Nashville for Mia's 27th, cowboy boots, honky-tonks, hot chicken that made us cry. Miami the next year, ocean drive, rooftop pools, dancing until sunrise. Vegas for my 30th, blackjack tables where we actually won, enough for a nice dinner anyway, Cirque shows, and promises whispered over champagne that we'd do this every year forever. Then the wedding started. Mia and Ben first. Outdoor ceremony in a Chicago garden, string quartet, her in a flowy lace gown that made her look like a fairy tale version of herself. Lena and I were co-maids of honor, matching sage green dresses, speeches that had everyone ugly crying. To the girl who's been my sister since we were 5, and to Ben for loving her the way we always knew someone should. Lena and Alex 2 years later, black tie at the plaza, orchids everywhere, 500 guests, including half the firm. Mia and I flew in early, helped with last-minute details, danced until our heels bled. Alex was perfect on paper, Harvard Law, charming, already on partnership track. We toasted again, this time to the power couple who'll run the world someday. I was happy for them, thrilled even, but somewhere in the photos, me smiling solo in my bridesmaid's dress while they had their plus ones, I started feeling the shift, the odd one out, the single friend who flew in, celebrated, flew home to an empty loft. The drift wasn't dramatic, no big fight, just life piling up like unread emails. Mia's texts turned mom-to-be after the twins' surprise. Ultrasound pics, nursery planning, complaints about swelling feet. Lena's became case updates, depositions, deals closing at midnight. Mine stayed the same. Work wins, dating disasters, travel photos. Replies slowed. Scene notifications replaced paragraphs. Sorry, crazy week became the standard apology. The first real pang hit at Mia's baby shower. We'd planned it together for months. Woodland theme, custom sugar cookies shaped like foxes, games I'd designed myself. I flew in early to help set up at the gorgeous venue overlooking the lake. Lena was supposed to co-host. 2 days before, the text came, emergency brief just landed, partners riding me hard, might have to Zoom the toast. She didn't make it, not even the Zoom. I watched Mia open gifts alone in the spot where Lena should have stood. She smiled through it, always the gracious host, but I saw the flicker, the hurt she swallowed with sparkling cider. Later, helping clean up, she said quietly, I know her job's insane, but it's my baby's Soph, first grandkids for my parents. I just thought... She didn't finish, didn't have to. I promised we'd make it up to her, planned a spa day for just the three of us once the twins arrived, but the spa day never happened. And that quiet disappointment, it was only the beginning. Something unspoken was growing between us, expectations we hadn't named yet, and cracks you don't notice can still bring the whole thing down. By the time we all hit our early 30s, the rules of our friendship had changed, quietly, without a single conversation or group vote. Nobody announced them. They just settled over us like dust on furniture you don't notice until the light hits it a certain way. We each slipped into roles that felt natural at first, almost flattering, but roles, left unchallenged, turn into cages. Mia became the mom friend, the one whose life orbited around her kids and home. After the twins arrived, two perfect boys, Owen and Ethan, her world shrank and expanded at the same time. Chicago winters meant indoor play gyms and music classes. Summers were zoo memberships and splash pads. A third baby, a girl named Harper, came 2 years later. Mia left her full-time job for freelance consulting, flexible hours, she said, so she could be present. Her Instagram shifted from rooftop cocktails to sensory bins, milestone cards, and honest captions about postpartum exhaustion. Every conversation looped back to the kids eventually. Sleep regressions, preschool waitlists, the endless juggle of motherhood. She stopped suggesting trips farther than a 3-hour drive. Too hard with the crew, she'd say with a tired laugh. Instead, she expected us to come to her, Chicago, for birthdays, holidays, long weekends where we could help with bath times and bedtimes. Lena became the career rocket. Partnership at the firm was the golden ring, and she reached for it with both hands. The clerkship had turned into 6 relentless years as an associate. Corporate litigation, billion-dollar deals, partners who emailed at 3 a.m. and expected replies by dawn. She made up for lost social time with expensive brunches when she could squeeze them in, always in Manhattan hotspots with $90 bottomless mimosas. Vacations were rare and short, 4-day weekends to the Caribbean if a deal closed early. Girls' trips? Impossible. I wish, she'd text, followed by a sad emoji and a Venmo for whatever we were spending without her. She started measuring success in billable hours and bonus size, casually dropping numbers that made my Cleveland salary look quaint. Her apartment upgraded to a 2-bedroom in Tribeca. Alex matched her climb, so their life became a blur of takeout from Seamless and black tie firm events. Me, I got labeled the free spirit. Still single, no kids, career climbing with actual work-life balance. My agency promoted me to creative director at 31. National campaigns, travel to shoots in LA or Miami, a team that respected weekends.
I dated here and there, nothing serious, nothing that stuck. I became the one who could always fly. To Chicago for the twins' first birthday smash cake, to New York for Lena's Affirm holiday party, where I'd stand solo in a cocktail dress while couples networked. I didn't mind the flexibility. I loved being the fun aunt who showed up with over-the-top gifts and stayed up late catching up. But slowly, the one-way travel started to grate. My vacation days dwindled on flights to them, never the other way around. The unspoken rules crystallized around expectations nobody voiced. Mia expected understanding. Motherhood was sacred, exhausting, all-consuming. If we couldn't drop everything for her kids' milestones, we were being selfish. Phone calls became therapy sessions where she vented about Ben's long hours or mom group drama, but asking about our lives felt like an afterthought. Lena expected admiration. Her grind was proof of ambition, of making it in a cutthroat world. Canceling plans last minute was just part of the deal. She'd send lavish gifts to make up for absence, designer diaper bags for Mia, spa certificates for me. Guilt gifts, really. I was expected to be the bridge, the one who mediated, who flew in, who kept the group chat alive with memes and check-ins. Because I had no husband, no kids, my time was free. The first real friction flared over Lena's partnership announcement. She made it at 34, one of the youngest women ever at the firm. The celebration was a Saturday night gala at a midtown ballroom, champagne towers, string quartet, partners giving speeches about her brilliance. She invited us weeks in advance. This is the night. I need my girls there. I booked a red-eye Thursday, took Friday off, planned to stay through Monday. Mia hesitated. Ben had a work trip to Singapore. The kids had been battling a stomach bug. Daycare was iffy. I want to be there more than anything, she said in the group chat. But realistically, 3 under 6 solo for 4 days? I don't think I can swing it. Lena's reply came fast. It's one night, Mia. Fly in Saturday morning, out Sunday. I'll pay for the ticket. This is huge for me. Mia, easy for you to say. You don't have to pump every 3 hours or deal with meltdowns on planes. Lena, I deal with partners screaming at me daily. We all have hard things. The thread went ice cold for 3 full days, an eternity for us. I tried playing peacemaker, flew to Chicago first, spent a day with Mia and the kids, pushing swings at the park, helping with dinner. She cried in her kitchen while pureeing sweet potatoes. I feel like a terrible friend, but I'm drowning, Soph. Then I flew to New York, met Lena for drinks at her firm's rooftop. She looked polished but hollow-eyed. She acts like I don't support her. I've sent gifts, Venmos, everything, but when it's my turn? The party was beautiful. I stood beside Lena in my rented gown while partners toasted her future, but the empty seat at our table, where Mia should have been, felt louder than the applause. Afterwards, in the hotel bar, Lena drowned her martini and said quietly, "Maybe we're just different now." I told her we'd figure it out, that we always did, but the unspoken rules had names now: resentment, judgment, scorekeeping. And once you start keeping score in a friendship, someone always loses.
I thought the partnership party fallout was our lowest point, the deepest crack we'd ever have to patch. We'd survived worse in college, breakups, family deaths. That semester, Mia almost flunked out after mono. A missed flight and some sharp words felt fixable. We'd cool off, apologize in our usual way, voice notes, care packages, a plan to meet halfway, and move on. But there was a secret already festering, one that would make the partnership fight look like a warm-up. It started with Lena. I noticed the change during a rare long weekend she carved out to visit me in Cleveland. No Alex, he had a deal closing in London, just the two of us, like old times. I picked her up at Hopkins in my new SUV, blasting our college playlist the whole drive to my loft. We cooked pasta with my mom's sauce recipe, opened a good bottle of Barolo, and sat on my balcony watching the sunset over Lake Erie. At first, it was perfect, laughing about old stories, her asking detailed questions about my latest campaign, me teasing her about finally buying plants for her Tribeca apartment that might actually survive. But as the second bottle emptied, her polish cracked. She stared into her glass too long. "Soph, can I tell you something? You can't breathe a word to Mia." My stomach tightened. of course. She took a breath. I think Alex is cheating. The words landed like ice water. She laid it out quietly, fact by fact, the way she'd present evidence in court. Late nights that didn't match his calendar, hotel charges on their joint card for nights he'd claimed to be at the office, texts he angled his phone away for, a colleague's wife mentioning seeing him at a Soho bar with some young associate. The gut punch, deleted WhatsApp threads she'd glimpsed before he cleared them. I hired a PI last month, she said, voice flat. Photos came yesterday. It's real. I was floored. Alex, the golden boy we'd toasted at the plaza, the one who'd seemed so proud of Lena's success. How long? 6 months, maybe more. Started right after I made senior associate. She wasn't crying. Not yet. Just hollow. Why stay? I asked. You're Lena freaking Kim. You could have him served tomorrow. She laughed, bitter. Partnership votes in 18 months. Divorce now, the old guard will say I can't handle pressure, that I'm distracted. I've worked too hard to let him tank it. Then the real reason. And Mia, she'll judge me. You know how she is about marriage. Vows are sacred, work it out for the kids. Except we don't have kids. She'll say I should have seen it, should have communicated better, should have been home more. I can't handle her disappointment on top of this. I hated that she was probably right. Mia wore her marriage like armor. Ben wasn't perfect, but he showed up for bedtime stories and Saturday soccer. She'd built her identity around family first. So I promised, your secret. I won't tell her until you're ready. Lena flew back to New York the next morning. We hugged too long at security. She whispered, "Thank you for not making me feel stupid." The secret sat on my chest like a stone. I flew to Chicago 2 weeks later for the twins' 4th birthday. Superhero-themed, backyard bouncy house, the works. Mia was in full mom glow, custom capes for every kid, a cake taller than Harper. Ben grilled burgers, relatives everywhere. I played fun aunt, chasing kids, taking photos. But every time Mia talked about marriage being work or choosing each other every day, I felt the lie between us. When she complained about Ben's latest work trip, at least he calls every night, you know? Guilt twisted harder. I almost told her twice, once over wine after the kids crashed, once during a walk to the park, but Lena's voice echoed. She'll judge me. So I swallowed it. The secret grew teeth. Lena started confiding only in me, late-night texts about therapy sessions, lawyer consultations she hadn't filed yet, nights she slept in the guest room. He doesn't even notice, she'd write. I became her lifeline. The only one who knew the polished partnership candidate was crumbling inside. Meanwhile, the group chat limped along. Mia posted kid milestones, Lena liked but rarely commented. I tried keeping it alive, memes, questions, nostalgia, but the replies felt forced. Then came Mia's casual dig during a 3-way call about summer plans. You two still have all that freedom, she said, half joking. Must be nice not having to plan around nap schedules. Lena jetting off to deals, soft dating whoever, whenever. Lena went quiet. I changed the subject fast. Later, Lena texted me privately. She has no idea. I defended Mia. She's exhausted, not malicious, but the resentment was planting seeds on both sides. By fall, Lena had decided, stay until partnership, then leave Alex quietly. Clean break, no drama at the firm. She'd started apartment hunting in Brooklyn, stashing money in a separate account. I supported her, encouraged therapy, sent care packages with her favorite Korean snacks her mom used to make. But carrying the secret alone was eroding me. I started snapping at work, losing sleep, dodging Mia's calls because every conversation felt like a minefield. One night in November, Mia texted after I'd bailed on a planned video wine night. "Everything okay? You've been distant." I stared at the message for an hour. Typed, "There's something I need to tell you about Lena." Deleted that. Typed, "Just busy with a big pitch." Sent that instead. The lie stacked on top of Lena's lie, and I hated myself for it. Because secrets in a trio don't stay contained. They poison the water you 3 drink from. And ours was about to become undrinkable. Turning 40 felt like a milestone we were supposed to conquer together, the three of us against the world, just like always. Mia had been planning it for a year, ever since her 39th birthday when the kids finally slept through the night for the first consistent stretch. No husbands, no kids, no excuses, she declared in a rare solo voice note to me and Lena. Just us, a lake house in the Finger Lakes, wine tastings, hikes, late nights talking like we're 25 again. I need this. We need this. I was in immediately, cleared my calendar, booked a flight to Rochester, even took an extra day off to help her stock the house. Lena said yes too, at first. Counting down the days, she texted with a string of heart emojis. We made a shared Pinterest board, cozy rentals with fire pits, playlists heavy on 2000s throwbacks, menus for charcuterie and breakfast casseroles. The house Mia found was perfect. 4 bedrooms on Canandaigua Lake, wraparound deck, kayaks included. She sent photos. Sunlight pouring through floor-to-ceiling windows, a stone fireplace, Adirondack chairs facing the water. This is where we hit reset, she wrote in the group chat. I flew in on Thursday, rented a car, stopped for groceries, and 3 cases of Finger Lakes Riesling. Mia picked me up at the airport Friday morning, kids safely with Ben's parents. She looked lighter than I'd seen her in years. No diaper bag, no stroller, just sunglasses and a huge smile. We drove north, blasting our old college playlist, windows down, singing off-key to Kelly Clarkson like nothing had changed. We spent the day setting up, string lights on the deck, fresh flowers from a roadside stand, a welcome chalkboard that read, "The triplets turn 40-ish." We cooked pasta, opened the first bottle, and talked until 2 a.m. Real talk. About her feeling invisible sometimes in mom world, about my latest almost relationship that fizzled because he wasn't ready for serious, about work stress, aging parents, the quiet fear that life was slipping past faster than we could grab it. "Where's Lena?" Mia asked at one point, checking her phone. Her flight should have landed hours ago. Lena had texted me separately that morning. Running late, partner needed revisions on a motion, should be there by dinner. Dinner came and went. We grilled steaks, saved a plate for her. 10 p.m. turned into midnight. Mia kept glancing at the driveway. Finally, at 12:47 a.m., the text came through. Not in the group, just to me first. "I can't make it. Emergency filing just dropped. Judge moved deadline to Monday. I'm so sorry." I felt my stomach sink. I showed Mia the message when she asked again. Her face changed. Smile gone, eyes narrowing. "She's not coming," Mia said flatly. "At all?" I tried damage control. "It's a big case. She'll drive up tomorrow, maybe." Mia shook her head. No, she knew how much this meant. I told her months ago this was non-negotiable. She poured another glass of wine, hands shaking. Then she called Lena directly, put it on speaker without asking me. Lena picked up on the third ring, sounding exhausted. "Hey, I just texted Soph." "You're not coming," Mia cut in. No greeting. "After everything, my 40th, the one thing I asked for." "I know, I feel awful, but this is a 9-figure merger. If I miss this deadline—" "You always have a deadline," Mia snapped. "My twins' baptism, you zoomed in for 5 minutes. My 38th birthday dinner, you canceled last minute for depot prep. Harper's first steps video, you liked it but never called. And now this, the weekend I begged for?" Lena's voice sharpened. "You think I want to be here, pulling it all-nighter while you two drink wine by a lake? Some of us don't have the luxury of opting out." "Luxury," Mia laughed, cold. "I have 3 kids under 7. I pump in bathroom stalls at Target. I haven't slept more than 4 hours straight in years. But I showed up for you, your clerkship graduation, your wedding, your partnership party, even when Ben was gone and the kids were sick." "You didn't come to the partnership party," Lena shot back. "Because I was solo parenting while you partied in Manhattan. Don't you dare throw that at me." I sat frozen on the couch, wine untouched. This wasn't bickering. This was years of swallowed hurt exploding. "You act like motherhood makes you a martyr, like the rest of us are selfish for not having kids yet. Newsflash, we're not lesser because we chose careers." "I never said that."
You imply it every time you talk about real life starting when you had babies. Mia's voice broke. Maybe because for me it did, and you two drifted away the second I couldn't party till dawn anymore. That's not fair, isn't it? Mia was crying now. I'm done bending over backwards for people who can't show up when I need them. We're not 20 anymore, Lena. Maybe we've just outgrown this. The line went silent except for Mia's quiet sobs. Lena finally whispered, I'm really sorry. I really am. But Mia hung up. She threw her phone on the couch and curled into a ball. I knew she'd bail. Deep down, I knew it. I held her while she cried, ugly, shoulder-shaking sobs that carried every disappointment she'd buried. I wanted to defend Lena, to explain the divorce mess she was hiding, the pressure at work, but I couldn't, not without betraying the secret. So I just held her. We didn't talk about it the rest of the weekend. We kayaked at sunrise, hiked the gorge trail, drank too much, took selfies pretending everything was fine. But the empty third bedroom loomed like a ghost. When I flew home Sunday night, Mia hugged me too tight at the airport. Thank you for coming, she said. At least one of you did. I smiled through the guilt stabbing my chest. Because the breaking point wasn't just Lena missing the trip, it was the realization that we'd all been keeping score, and nobody was winning. And the worst revelation? It was still coming.
The Finger Lakes weekend ended on a Sunday morning that felt wrong from the start. Mia and I woke up to fog rolling off the lake, thick and gray, swallowing the opposite shore. We drank coffee on the deck in silence, watching kayakers appear and disappear like ghosts. No music. No laughter. The third Adirondack chair stayed empty, a silent accusation. I flew home that afternoon. Mia hugged me at the airport curb, eyes puffy. Text me when you land, she said. I promised I would. I didn't hear from her again for 6 months. Not a single text. No happy birthday in October, no Merry Christmas. The group chat, our lifeline for almost 20 years, went completely dark. Messages from me sat on delivered, never flipping to read. I'd type long apologies, explanations, check-ins, then delete them. What could I say that wouldn't make everything worse? Lena reached out once, 2 weeks after the blow-up, a voice note at 2 a.m. my time, her voice hoarse from exhaustion. I messed up, I know. That filing was brutal, but I could have fought harder to get there. I just froze. Tell Mia I'm sorry, please. I forwarded it to Mia. No response. Lena tried herself a month later, an actual letter, handwritten, mailed to Mia's house. She told me she'd poured everything into it, the pressure at work, the guilt, how much she missed us. Mia never acknowledged it. I became the reluctant go-between, stuck in the middle with no map. I'd fly to Chicago for work and text Mia, in town for a shoot, coffee? Crickets. I'd message Lena after big court wins she posted on LinkedIn. Proud of you, Mia will come around. She'd reply with a thumbs up emoji and nothing else. The silence was deafening. I filled it the only way I knew how. Work, travel, dating apps that went nowhere. My agency landed a huge automotive client. I spent weeks in Detroit and LA, hotel rooms blending into one another. I ran half marathons along whatever lake or river was closest. I told myself I was fine, that friendships ebb and flow, that maybe we needed space. But at night, scrolling through old photos, us at graduation, at weddings, at that Miami trip where we got matching tiny tattoos on our ankles, I'd feel the ache, deep, physical, like losing a limb you still expected to feel. Then came the divorce news. It broke publicly in March, page 6 even. Top litigator's marriage implodes amid partnership push. Photos of Alex leaving their Tribeca building with suitcases, rumors of an affair with a summer associate. The firm issued a bland statement. Lena went radio silent on social media. I called her immediately. She answered on the 4th ring. It's done, she said, flat. Filed last week. He didn't contest. I'm so sorry. I meant it in every possible way. Don't be. I'm relieved. Exhausted, but relieved.
We talked for an hour. She told me the details she'd hidden for so long, the confrontation after the PI photos, Alex's half-assed apologies, the decision to wait until after partnership vote, which she'd won, ironically, 2 months earlier. She was moving into a new place in Brooklyn Heights, starting therapy, taking a sabbatical the firm had offered. "I should have told Mia," she said quietly. "All of it. I was scared she'd think less of me for staying so long, for putting work first." I didn't defend Mia this time, just listened. 2 days later, Mia texted me out of the blue, a screenshot of the Page 6 article. Nothing else. I called her. She answered on the first ring. She couldn't even tell us herself? Mia's voice was sharp. Her marriage falls apart and I find out from gossip sites? She wanted to. She was ashamed. And after the lake house? So this is my fault now? No, but she thought you'd judge her for staying so long, for putting work first. She laughed, bitter. Of course she did, because Saint Mia with her perfect suburban life would never understand ambition, right? That's not, isn't it? She cut in. You both kept this from me for over a year, Soph. You knew and didn't tell me. Guilt slammed into me. I asked me not to. I hated it every day. Silence stretched. I feel like I don't know you two anymore, like the people I grew up with got replaced by strangers who pity me for choosing family. That's not true, isn't it? Lena with her perfect power couple facade crumbling, you jetting around single and fancy-free, and me stuck in the suburbs with finger paint and laundry, the boring one. You're not boring. You're the strongest person I know. She started crying. Then why does it feel like you both left me behind? We talked for 3 hours, longest we'd spoken in years. I told her everything, Lena's fear, the PI, the nights she'd cried on my couch. Mia listened, asked questions, cried more. But when I suggested a 3-way call, she shut down. I'm not ready. I can't pretend everything's fine yet. The line went dead in a different way. I stopped trying to force fixes, sent Mia photos of the kids' birthdays I'd missed, she'd posted publicly, liked Lena's rare Instagram stories of her new apartment plants, kept my own life moving forward, new boyfriend for a few months, a promotion to executive director of creative, and a trip to Italy with my mom. But the silence lingered, heavy, suffocating. 6 months turned into 9. Holidays went and came without our usual frenzy of group planning. I started therapy myself, talking about the grief of losing them while they were still alive. The therapist called it ambiguous loss. It fit. I'd lie awake wondering if this was permanent, if 40 was the year we admitted some friendships have expiration dates. Then, one rainy October night, I opened my laptop to clear old files for a hard drive upgrade, and stumbles on an email thread from 2 years back. Lena venting after a missed baby shower. Mia acts like maternity makes her untouchable, always subtle digs about us not having kids yet, like we're missing the point of life. Another from Mia forwarded to me after a canceled trip. Lena thinks her big job makes her better. Wait till she has kids and sees what real exhaustion is. My heart stopped. We'd all been resentful, all keeping score, all silent about it. And the friendship we thought was unbreakable, it had been cracking for years, from the inside out.
It was a random Thursday in October, the kind of gray Cleveland day where the lake looks like steel and the wind off Erie cuts right through your coat. I was working from home, wrapped in a blanket on my couch with Luna, my new rescue pup, snoring beside me. A big client presentation was looming, and my laptop was dying from too many open tabs. I decided to bite the bullet and clean out my external hard drive. Years of campaign files, photos, random downloads taking up space. That's when I found the folder labeled Old Emails Backup 2022. I almost skipped it, but something made me click. It was an export I'd done when switching email providers, thousands of messages archived. I searched for Mia and Lena to delete duplicates. What came up stopped me cold. First, an email from Lena forwarded to me 2 years earlier after Mia had canceled yet another planned visit to New York. Subject, venting again, don't judge me.
Mia's message to me had been light. Kids are sick again, can't swing the flight. Rain check. But Lena's forward included her real reply to a mutual friend who'd asked why the trip fell through. She always has an excuse. It's like once she had kids, the rest of us stopped mattering. I get motherhood is hard, but she acts like her life is the only one that counts now. Subtle digs every call. Must be nice to sleep in, or you'll understand when you have real responsibilities. I love her, but sometimes I feel like she's low-key judging us for not popping out babies yet. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. This wasn't the Lena I knew, the one who sent extravagant gifts for every kid milestone, who FaceTimed the twins on their birthdays, even during all-nighters. I kept scrolling. Another thread, this one from Mia. She'd emailed me after Lena missed Harper's first birthday party, another work emergency. Subject, am I crazy? I try not to be bitter, Soph, I really do, but Lena cancels everything now, and when she does show up, it's like she's doing us a favor, flew in from closing a deal like we're supposed to applaud. Meanwhile, I haven't had a night away from the kids in 2 years. She thinks her job is hard. Try wiping butts at 3 a.m. while your husband snores. I know that sounds awful. Delete this if you want. Just needed to say it somewhere. Delete this. She trusted me to be her safe space, but I hadn't deleted it. There were more. Lena complaining about Mia's mom flexing, how every group chat derailed into kid stories, how Mia subtly implied career women were missing out on what really matters. Mia venting about Lena's perfect child-free life, European work trips, date nights whenever, no compromise. And me, I found my own emails too, ones I'd forgotten. To Lena, after a canceled girls' trip, I get Mia's stuck with the kids, but it sucks being the only one who always travels. Feels like I'm the default flexible friend because I don't have a husband or babies. To Mia, after Lena bragged about bonus size, she means well with the gifts, but sometimes it feels like she's buying forgiveness for not showing up. We'd all been doing it, keeping private scoreboards, venting to each other about the third, never saying the hard things to the person who needed to hear them. I sat there until the sun set, laptop burning my thighs, tears streaming. Luna whined and licked my hand, confused why her human was falling apart. 20 years of friendship, and we'd been quietly resenting each other for years. Lena resented Mia for making motherhood her entire personality, for the subtle superiority that came with, I chose family. Mia resented Lena for disappearing into work, for seeming to look down on suburban mom life as lesser. Both resented me a little for having freedom, no kids, no demanding spouse, a career with actual boundaries. And I resented being the perpetual bridge, the one expected to understand everyone because I wasn't tied down. We'd never said any of it out loud. Instead, we smiled in photos, sent heart emojis, let the wounds fester. The divorce news should have been the breaking point, but this was the real fracture. Because secrets and unspoken expectations don't just hurt, they rewrite history. Every memory I cherished now had shadows. That Miami trip where we got tattoos, Mia had been pregnant with Harper and hadn't told us yet, afraid we'd judge her for quitting her career. Lena's wedding toast about choosing partnership in life and work, delivered while Alex was already straying. My promotion party they both flew in for, they'd argued in the hotel hallway about who was paying for what, each feeling the other never contributed enough. I closed the laptop and walked to the window. Downtown lights flickered on across the lake. I thought about calling one of them, screaming, crying, demanding answers. But what would I even say? You both talked behind each other's backs for years? Because I had too. We all had. The discovery didn't feel like clarity. It felt like grief. For the version of us that I thought was real, the inseparable three who'd never let anything come between us. That version had been dying for years, and none of us had noticed until it was too late. Or almost too late. Because sitting there in the dark, something shifted. Anger faded into sadness, then into resolute. If we were going to lose this forever, it wouldn't be because we stayed silent. Not anymore. I opened my phone and booked 2 flights. one to Chicago, one to New York. It was time to stop being the bridge and start being the wrecking ball, because sometimes you have to tear it all down to see what's worth rebuilding.
I didn't tell them I was coming. No texts, no hints, no in town for work excuses. I just booked the flights back to back. Cleveland to Chicago on a Friday red-eye, then Chicago to New York Saturday morning. I packed light. One carry-on, comfortable jeans, the oversized hoodie we'd all bought on that Vegas trip 15 years ago. It still smelled faintly like the hotel lotion we'd stolen by the handful. First stop, Chicago. I landed at O'Hare at 7 a.m., rented a car, and drove straight to Mia's house in the suburbs. The tree-lined street looked exactly the same. Baskets of mums on porches, kids' bikes on lawns, Halloween decorations already up, even though it was only mid-October. Her minivan was in the driveway, back hatch open. She was loading grocery bags, hair in a messy bun, yoga pants, and an old Ohio State sweatshirt. I parked behind her and got out. She froze mid-lift, plastic bags dangling from her wrists. "Soph?" Her voice cracked. "What are you—" I didn't let her finish. I walked up and hugged her so hard a bag of apples spilled onto the driveway. She hugged back eventually, stiff at first, then melting into it like she'd been waiting years for permission. We ended up inside at her kitchen island, coffee brewing, kids still asleep upstairs because Ben had taken them to Saturday soccer. The house smelled like cinnamon and Play-Doh, toys scattered like landmines. She kept staring at me like I might disappear. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" "Because you would have said you were busy." She flinched. Fair hit. We started slow, catching up on surface things. Kids' school, Ben's new job stress, my promotion. But the emails I'd found burned in my pocket. Literally, I'd printed the worst ones. An hour in, after the second cup, I slid the folder across the counter. "I found these cleaning my drive. Old emails. From both of you. To me." Her face went pale as she opened it. I watched her read, her eyes scanning Lena's vents about mom flexing, then her own about Lena's perfect child-free life. She lingered on my replies, the ones where I'd agreed a little too eagerly. When she finished, she closed the folder gently, like it might explode. "I forgot I'd written some of those," she whispered. "Me too, until I saw them again." She looked up, eyes red. "I was so angry, all the time. Felt like you two moved on without me." "I know." And instead of saying it, I bitched behind Lena's back. God, I'm awful. "You were hurt." We all were. We talked until the kids thundered downstairs demanding pancakes. I helped make breakfast, flipping Mickey Mouse shapes while Mia wiped tears with a dish towel. Harper climbed into my lap like no time had passed. Owen showed me his new Lego set. It hurt how easy it was to slip back in and how much I'd missed it. I stayed the day, took the kids to the park so Mia could nap. We ordered pizza for dinner. Ben came home, surprised but warm. He hugged me too, said the house felt brighter. That night, after the kids were down, Mia and I sat on her back porch with wine. "I miss her," she admitted. "Even mad, I miss Lena." "Me too." "Will you see her tomorrow?" I nodded. Tell her I'm ready when she is." I flew to New York the next morning, heart heavy but lighter than it had been in months. Lena's new place was in Brooklyn Heights, a sunny pre-war walk-up with hardwood floors and a tiny balcony overlooking the promenade. I buzzed up without warning. She opened the door in leggings and an oversized sweater, hair wet from a shower, no makeup. She looked smaller without the armor of suits and heels. "Sophia!" Shock, then tears instant. We didn't make it past the entryway. She hugged me like she was drowning. Inside, her apartment was half unpacked, boxes labeled kitchen and books, a single couch, photos of us still in bubble wrap, divorce remnants. We sat on the floor because the couch was covered in files. "I'm a mess," she said, laughing through tears. "You're allowed." I gave her the same folder, told her about Chicago, about Mia's court confession. She read slowly, face crumpling at her own words. "I was so jealous," she said finally, "of Mia's family, of your freedom, of anything that wasn't 80-hour weeks and a lying husband. I turned it into judgment because it was easier than admitting I was unhappy." We all did versions of that. She cried harder.
I lost Alex, almost lost you two. For what? I didn't have an answer, just held her. That afternoon, we walked the promenade, wind off the water whipping our hair, Manhattan skyline glittering across the river. She talked about therapy, about liking her new partners who actually respected boundaries, about maybe dating again when she didn't hate love. I miss Mia's chaos, she said at one point. The noise, the kids climbing all over me. I used to complain, but God, I miss it. She misses you too. Lena stopped walking. Do you think we can fix this? I think we have to try. That night, back in her apartment, I set up my phone on a stack of books. FaceTime, three-way call. Mia answered on the second ring. Kitchen behind her, Ben waving in the background. Lena's breath caught when Mia's face appeared. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Mia, hi. Lena, hi. I stayed quiet. Mia started crying first. I'm so sorry for everything I said, everything I thought but didn't say. Lena, me too. I was awful, jealous and awful. They talked, no, poured for 3 hours. Kids interrupted Mia twice. Lena's cat jumped on her lap. I mostly listened. Resentments named, hurts acknowledged, secrets finally shared with all three. By the end, voices hoarse, they were laughing through tears about stupid old memories. We're idiots, Mia said. Certified, Lena agreed. I finally spoke. So, Napa? Spring? Just us? Mia, book it. Lena, I'm clearing my calendar, no excuses. We hung up at 2 a.m. New York time. I slept on Lena's couch, woke to her making coffee. The confrontation wasn't fireworks, it was demolition of walls we'd built without realizing. And in the rubble, the foundation was still there. Solid, waiting.
Napa Valley in April is pure magic, the kind of place that makes you believe in second chances. Rolling hills blanketed in wild mustard flowers, vines just starting to bud, air scented with earth and possibility. We'd booked a house in St. Helena, 5 bedrooms, infinity pool overlooking the vineyards, a massive kitchen with a pizza oven we swore we'd use. No kids, no partners, no work laptops allowed, just us. I arrived first, flying into SFO and driving north with the windows down, playlist curated from our college days blasting. My heart was pounding the whole way. What if the confrontation had been a fluke? What if seeing each other in person brought back the resentment? Mia's flight landed next. I picked her up at the tiny Sonoma airport. She stepped out in jeans, a flowy blouse, and sunglasses, pulling a suitcase that wasn't stuffed with kid gear for once. When she saw me, she dropped her bag and ran. We hugged in the middle of baggage claim like teenagers, crying and laughing at the same time. "You're here," she kept saying. "You're really here." Lena's flight was last, direct from JFK. Mia and I drove to meet her, nervous energy crackling. We parked and waited at arrivals, holding a ridiculous sign I'd made, "Welcome back to the triplets." She appeared in a trench coat, hair longer than before, looking polished but tired from the red-eye. When she spotted us, her face crumpled. She dropped her carry-on and walked fast. We met in the middle, 3-way hug, arms tangled, tears instant. "I missed you idiots so much," Lena mumbled into my shoulder. We didn't let go for a full minute. The drive to the house was 2 hours of nonstop talking, overlapping stories, interruptions, laughter that turned into tears and back again. We stopped at a roadside stand for strawberries and sourdough, ate them in the car like we were 20. The house was even better than the photos. We claimed rooms, unpacked wine, cases of it, and sat on the deck watching the sun drop behind the hills. First bottle opened, a sparkling rosé from a vineyard down the road. We didn't toast to anything big, just clinked glasses and said, "To us." Day 1 was gentle. We hiked a trail at dawn, past vines heavy with dew, no one else around. Mia led the way, fit from chasing kids and running 5Ks. Lena admitted she'd started yoga to manage divorce stress. I bragged about my half-marathon time. We took selfies at the overlook, arms around each other, no filters needed. Breakfast was a disaster. We attempted the pizza oven and burned the first dough, ended up with charred crusts and too much cheese, eating them anyway on the patio, laughing until our sides hurt. Afternoon, winery hopping.
A small family vineyard first, tasting room in a barn, the owner pouring us barrel samples while telling stories. Then a bigger one with caves and charcuterie. We got tipsy fast, buying bottles we swore we'd ship home. By dinner, the real talk started. We cooked together, pasta with fresh peas, salad from the garden, more wine, sat at the long farmhouse table as the sky turned pink. Mia spoke first. I need to say this out loud. I was jealous of both of you, your freedom, your careers, the way life seemed easier. I turned that into judgment, made motherhood my whole personality because it was the one thing I felt I was winning at. Lena nodded. I was jealous too, of your family, Mia, those kids who adore you, your marriage that worked, until mine didn't. And Saf, your balance. I thought work was everything, and when it wasn't enough, I got bitter. I admitted my part. I resented being the single one expected to always show up, felt like my life didn't count as much because it wasn't serious. I vented instead of speaking up. We went around again, specifics this time. Mia, the partnership party, I wanted to be there. I was sick with guilt for weeks. Lena, the lake house, I should have quit the firm that weekend. Nothing was worth missing that. Me, keeping your secret, Lena, I hated it. It made me feel like a liar to Mia. More tears, but cleansing ones. Lena told us the full divorce story, details she'd spared before. The confrontation, Alex's denial, then confession, the settlement, how free she felt now, even in the mess. Mia opened up about postpartum struggles after Harper, the isolation, how mom groups felt like competition. I confessed my fear of commitment, how watching both their marriages, one good, one bad, had made me gun-shy. We stayed at that table until midnight. No phones, no interruptions. Day 2, more wineries, but slower. A picnic at one with views forever. We spread a blanket under an oak tree, ate cheese and bread, napped in the sun. Evening, hot tub under the stars, bottles floating in an ice bucket. That's when the promises came. Lena, no more canceling unless it's life or death, and even then, I'll fight. Mia, I'll stop expecting you to orbit my life. You'll get invites, not obligations. Me, I'll stop playing middleman. If something bothers me, I say it to your face. We added new ones. Monthly video calls, no excuses. One annual trip, just us, wherever. Real talk always, even when it's hard, especially then. Last day, we hiked again, this time at sunset, stood at the top of a hill watching the valleys glow gold. Mia said, I thought we were done, like really done. Lena, me too, scariest thing I've ever felt. I looked at them, wind whipping our hair, faces softer than they'd been in years. I said, we almost let it break us, but we didn't. We linked arms for a photo, no sign needed this time. On the drive to the airport the next morning, we were quiet. Not heavy quiet, peaceful. At security, we hugged longer than ever. See you in Chicago for Harper's birthday? Mia asked Lena. I'll be there, front row. To me, Cleveland for Thanksgiving? Wouldn't miss it. We watched each other go through security one by one. I landed home that night exhausted, happy, hopeful. The reconciliation wasn't a single moment. It was a choice, renewed daily, and worth every tear. Because growing up didn't break our bond. We almost broke it ourselves, with silence, scorekeeping, fear. But we chose to fix it, and that made it stronger than ever.
2 years after Napa, and I can say it without hesitation, we're better than we've ever been. Not perfect, God no. We're in our mid-40s now. Gray hairs sneaking in. Mia embraces hers. Lena covers hers religiously. I just pluck mine in denial. Bodies that don't bounce back from late nights like they used to. Lives that are fuller and more complicated than we ever imagined in that Shaker Heights cul-de-sac. But the bond? It's stronger, deeper, more honest than the pinky swear version from our 20s. We kept the promises we made in that Napa hot tub. Monthly video calls became sacred. First Thursday of every month, 8 p.m. Central, no matter what. Kids' bedtimes, court deadlines, client dinners, all scheduled around it. We show up with wine or tea or sparkling water, faces bare, houses messy in the background. We talk about everything. Work wins, parenting fails, dating disasters, mine and Lena's, perimenopause symptoms we're all starting to notice, no topic off limits. We've cried over Mia's mom's cancer scare, thank God early and treatable. Celebrated Lena's first serious post-divorce relationship, a fellow attorney who actually cooks, cheered my engagement to David, the guy I met on a design conference panel in Austin, who finally made serious feel exciting instead of scary. Annual trips are non-negotiable. Last year, Charleston. Carriage rides, ghost tours, low country boils that gave us all food comas. This year, Santa Fe in the fall, hot air balloons and Adobe casitas. We've already booked next year's, Amalfi Coast, because we're finally splurging on the Italy trip we've talked about since high school. The kids call us the Aunties now. Owen and Ethan are 10, obsessed with basketball and Fortnite. Harper's 8, going on 18, sassy and artistic like her mom. They FaceTime Lena for legal advice on playground disputes. Is it theft if he took my slime without asking? And me for help with school art projects. When Lena flies in for birthdays, the kids tackle her at the airport. When I visit, we build blanket forts that take over Mia's entire living room. Ben jokes he's outnumbered, but secretly loves it. Lena's dating Marcus steadily, 6 months now. He's kind, divorced, with a teenage daughter, understands long hours because he's in-house counsel at a tech company. She brought him to Charleston for one dinner, nervous as hell. We grilled him gently. Okay, maybe not that gently. Mia asked about his 5-year plan. I interrogated his design taste. He passed. We like him. More importantly, she glows when she talks about him. Mia went back to work part-time last year, consulting for her old company remotely. She loves having her brain back, loves the adult conversations, loves that Ben stepped up more at home. They're talking about a 4th kid, maybe, but only if it feels right. She runs half marathons now, posts less on Instagram, lives more offline. Me? I married David last summer. Small wedding on the Lake Erie shore at sunset, barefoot in the sand, string lights, Playhouse Square string quartet playing our college favorites. Mia and Lena were co-maids of honor again, this time in mismatched blue dresses they picked themselves. Their toasts had everyone sobbing. Mia on how I'd always been the glue, Lena on how I'd taught them both to choose themselves without losing us. We danced at the reception until the venue kicked us out. The 3 of us in the middle of the floor, arms linked, singing Wannabe at the top of our lungs like we were 22 again. David fits seamlessly. He calls them the sisters-in-law I never asked for but am stuck with forever. They adore him, mostly because he cooks and doesn't flinch when we hijack his house for girls' nights. We still fight. Smaller stuff now. Mia gets annoyed when Lena books fancy restaurants without checking budgets. Lena rolls her eyes when Mia schedules everything around kids' activities. I get frustrated when they both forget to respond for days because life's chaotic. But we say it now, out loud, immediately. No festering, no scorekeeping. Therapy helped all 3 of us, individually and once together, a weekend intensive in Colorado where we laughed more than we cried, but did plenty of both. Growing up didn't break our bond. Careers, marriages, divorces, motherhood, child-free choices, unspoken expectations, those almost did. We almost let comparison and silence win. But we chose differently. We chose the hard conversations. We chose showing up even when it was inconvenient. We chose forgiveness over and over. We chose each other. Not the versions from high school or college or even our 30s. The real versions, flawed, evolving, mid-40s, and finally comfortable in our own lives. Today, I'm sitting on my porch in Cleveland, new house David and I bought last year, view of the lake, Luna now gray-muzzled at my feet. It's December, first snow flurries dancing in the air. My phone buzzes, the group chat blowing up with plans for New Year's. Mia's hosting, kids' early countdown with sparkling cider, adult one later with champagne. Lena's flying in early to help cook. I'm bringing dessert and my famous playlist. David walks out with Coco, kisses the top of my head. Your sister's causing chaos again? Always, I smile. He laughs. Tell them hi. I look at the chat, photos of Mia's decorated tree, Lena's new snow boots for the trip, memes only we'd find funny. Still us. Different lives, same hearts.
And if you're reading this, maybe nursing a friendship that's frayed, maybe wondering if the silence has gone too long, maybe scared that too much has changed, listen, say the hard thing, book the flight, show up unannounced if you have to, fight for it. Because the people who knew you when you were becoming, they're the ones who will love you when you finally arrive. Even when the road was rough, especially then. We're proof. Still here, still us. Always.